Oh, is it working? I'm going to assume it's working. Every time I test the microphone, it blasts everyone's ears out. So basically, I was doing this video because I wanted to sort of discuss my ideas on how I would do animal control in Australia. It's obviously a taboo subject. Probably won't even get many views, and that's fine. But it's basically what I would do. I cannot obviously show any firearms in this video or bullets because obviously YouTube does not like that. I've had them shut down the stream because of it. So we don't do that. But what we can do is talk. That's fine. So there's nothing wrong with discussing ideas. So we can do that. So basically, hunting in Australia, it's going to be more difficult because of all the gun rule changes. And so we're going to get overrun with a lot of feral pests, and that's a given. That's going to happen because you're basically shutting down all the people that can keep control of that. So that's obviously not a good thing. But if we're going to do hunts, I still think like a lot of people aren't aware. I don't know, but it's how I would do things. And basically, obviously, you want things to be safe, and you want them to go to the areas where the problems are. So it used to be that you go to the farms and you clean the farms up of the pests, and then that would usually keep the numbers down. Since all these gun rule changes, that's probably not going to happen now. So farms are going to be overrun with feral pests, and really, farmers don't do a lot of hunting because basically they don't have time. Like when you're looking after animals, repairing fences, and looking after crops and stuff, you don't get a lot of time for going out and cleaning out vermin. Being the vermin around here is the rabbits, foxes, and cats are the big problem that you will see. There's cane toads, but I think there's groups that try and deal with the cane toads. I don't really know exactly what they do. They usually go around with a gravity stick and a bag, and they just pick them up and put them in. They're not fast like the foxes, the rabbits, or the cats. Like they can't run away, so they just grab them and put them in a bag and then chuck them in a fire or something. I don't know. Basically, how I would do it is I would be thinking local councils need to think about how they're going to control the state forests and go, okay, well, we're going to get a lot of them in the state forests, a lot of food, there's a lot of wild animals out there, so we want to take control of that for them. So what I would do is I would want to be putting out information flyers to say, look, if there's any gun owners out in this local council and you want to join up with the local hunt, and we're going to all sign up and pay a fee for like insurance purposes. So medical fees are covered if something happens, someone has a heart attack, or something happens, then you can be like, all right, well, we've got funding to get people out there and help them if we need to, to cover the insurance and everything as well. So obviously, worst case scenario is somebody gets shot, but if you're going out as a big group, in a big organised group, and you've got an experienced leader that's going, okay, well, I've done this many years, and this is how we're going to break this down and do this, and we're all going to stick to the rules and make sure that if we stick to the rules, no one gets hurt. So I'm thinking like high vis, so everyone can see you. Like you're going to say we're going to camp out in this location for like a day or two, and we're all going to let the leader know what we've got on us. So we've got like a checklist to say, yes, I've got this many bullets, I'm using this particular gun, using this particular sight on the gun, it's this is my license, that kind of thing. And they say that at this designated time, the ranger is going to close off this part of the state forest. So they'll say, okay, so this part of the state forest is now closed for the public, and only hunters that have signed up. You show your paper, and you say, look, this is what I've got, blah, 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 blah. show that to the ranger. They tick you off and say, yep, I see, no worries, you go through, and then you go meet up with that person over there, and they're going to lead you through the hunt. So basically, even if you don't know people on the hunt, it'd be a good way to make friends and say, look, hey, I like hunting, I like guns, and this is our way of saying we're going to keep control of this. I would also think that having a map of the location, so say, look, you're going to go out with a map and a compass, and some medical supplies on you if you need them, food and water, things that you need, like you got to supply all that yourself. Like we're not going to supply that for you, so you got to supply yourself, and your own sleeping things. If you're sleeping the night, like if you're going to camp there, you got to bring your own tent, that kind of thing, and say, look, we're going to do it as a grid pattern. So we're going to start off this side of the map, and we're going to work our way through. It's going to be X amount of kilometres walk. People who can't walk that far, let us know. We'll sort that out. This is the caliber of weapons that people will be using. These are the animals we're going after. If you see something like an endangered species or something, obviously we're not going to be shooting in that direction. If we see people in a particular spot, nope. Just obvious stuff, like stuff that says, we'll build up a list of rules that keeps everyone safe. And people that are going out from that particular area will go, right, well, we're all going to check in and we're all going to check out, like, I don't know, but just at a point, like you go, okay, we'll meet at this point at this time. Everyone's going to check in and say, all right, this is what we saw, this is what we found, this is what we did. I don't know, like, we saw 10 rabbits there. So many people had a shot, so many rabbits were bagged, that kind of thing. Make a checklist of who shoots what, because then I think like the council should be giving money for the particular feral pest that's taken out. Like say a rabbit might be $5 or $10, a cat might be $25, and a fox might be $100. So you might say, okay, well, Joe Bob's over there, he shot a fox, so he gets $100 from the council. There's a little certificate from the ranger to say, yep, he got that one. Jim got 10 rabbits, so he gets like $50 or $100 or something. Like, make it like you don't have to make it big money because people are going to want to do it anyway. Like you don't need to be saying, well, you're going to get lots of money for shooting these feral pests. Like you don't have to do that. That's not a requirement. So if you're just saying, I'm just going to be doing this, and we're going to do it at this time, because this is when the animals are the most active and you want to keep the numbers down, usually around spring. So basically, look, it's because a lot of people that like shooting, there's a lot of no information out there. There are certain people that are allowed to hunt for the government. They usually have to be AAA shooters. I just find that a bit unfair because majority of people aren't going to be a AAA shooter. I'm not a AAA shooter. I've never been a AAA shooter. The amount of skill you need to do that is phenomenal. It's a gift. It's like being gifted at sport or something. Like to be a AAA shooter. Like some people out there might say, "Oh, it's not that hard." No, it is. It is hard for the average person. It's hard. I'd be lucky to be shooting at C grade. To be B is very good. Like to be a B grade shooter is very good. And I'll give you an idea. Like people don't understand how hard it is to actually hunt. Say for example, a rabbit. A rabbit is actually quite small. The target you're actually aiming at is probably like that big. So if you look at that, like a rabbit's body, and what you're trying to hit, say the heart and lungs. So I guess like that or like that. If you're trying to hit the heart and lungs, which is one shot, one kill, that's it. Or a headshot, the head's even smaller. It's like that. And they're not dumb. The animals aren't dumb. Like if you see a fox and they see you, chances are they'll take a 10-second look at you, if that, and then they'll run away. It's very hard to actually line up a shot on a fox. And a cat's no different. A cat's very smart too. The feral cat will see you and they'll just take off. As soon as they see you, they're gone. So, and another thing Americans won't understand is you don't really need a repeating rifle to hunt, because most of the time you're only going to get one shot, right? You'll only get one shot at the animal and then they're gone. You'd be very lucky to get 2 or 3 shots. So having a repeating rifle where you're going to go bang, 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 like, it's very unlikely that you'll ever get to use it like that. You'll get like maybe one clean shot and the animal's gone, and or you're just wasting ammo because it's just running around and you're not going to hit it. So it's not impossible to hit a moving target. Like, me and my friend have done it. It's just very, very difficult. So yeah, a couple of tips I would say is if you were keen on being a professional hunter, a thermal scope is what you need. Night vision scopes are only good up to about 60 meters, and after that, they're no good. You can't really see anything. And the night vision scope's about $900 to $1,000, if not more, 900 to 1,500 Australian. Good torch and a standard scope, you're probably looking at about $650. And a torch, you can easily get to see up to about 50, 60 meters quite easily. So you don't really need a night vision scope because you're not going to really see much more with it than you would with a torch and a standard scope. And obviously a thermal scope is the preferred one because you're going to be able to see everything with that's out there, and they're not going to be able to realize that you're looking at them. They might see you, but they don't know that you see them. A cheap thermal scope, you're looking between $3,500 to $4,100. If you were a serious shooter, you would go with thermal scope for that reason. If you're going out hunting all the time, you can justify its existence. But for the average person, it's completely unnecessary. You're never going to use it for what it's worth. And yeah, I mean, if you had a thermal scope, you're going to pick up a lot more. You're going to get a lot more rabbits and foxes and stuff because you're going to see a lot more. You're going to be able to react to a lot more and do a lot more. And you can see in the dark. So that's going to be a big advantage. Yeah. Sorry. So that's how I would do it. Obviously, the other thing about the grid pattern technique will be that, it's safety above all else. Like making sure that nobody is shooting in a direction where there's people. So if you have one group go in one direction and then go back down the line, and then one group go in another direction and come back down the line, and then you meet. Obviously, when you're coming back, you're not going to be shooting, but when you're going out, that's all right. But obviously there's a lot of obvious things that you would do for obvious reasons. So, like when me and my friend went out, we used to always call out what we were doing. Like we would say, safety's on, X amount of bullets in the clip, one in the chamber, that kind of thing, what the scope was sighted into, because we would share the rifle between us. So you'd be, okay, it's sighted in for this. So usually 30, 50 meters. We liked it on about 6 times zoom. 4 to 6 times is what the lowest my rifle will go down to. So that was good for us for hunting because it gives you a wider range of view. Obviously, you couldn't get those precision shots that you would like all the time, but it was much easier for hunting, believe me. when you have it sighted in for I think max mine goes up to 16 times. To have it there, it was very, very hard to see anything because if you didn't have the light on the target, it's just black, can't see nothing. And the second reason was that you do a little shake or anything like that, you're off target. So it was very hard to get that precision shot. So didn't usually do that. Found that, Yeah, between 30 to 50 meters sliding. What you had your parallax set to, and your zoom was usually about six times was good. I think if you're cruising around like that, should be pretty good. I mean, even 4 times is all right. Like it's almost like having an ACOG sight, so you can go. It's like having a standard ACOG sight on your rifle, and that's fine. Like uh, I didn't find that difficult for hunting. Um, Another thing I would suggest would be to have a shooting stick. As ridiculous as that sounds, it wasn't something that we rolled around with, but it was always something I was tempted to make out of some PVC. You can buy them. I think they're about $150, but you could make one. You could go to the hardware store, get about $10 worth of PVC, and stick one together. So, yeah, it's basically just a pole with a little U-shaped thing that you stick your gun in. You could make a little platform for it at the bottom, and I think it'd just be extra weight, so it'd be unnecessary. You might just jam the pole in the ground, like put a sharp end to it, jam it in, and then put your rifle on it, and then line up. Because when you're trying to shoot freehand, that's obviously the hardest you can do. So you have to practice it a fair bit to get good at it. So you could do it that way, but you just have to practice it. Because if you're not practiced, you're not going to hit anything. You're just wasting your ammo. Yeah. And also having a single shot rifle, like a bolt action repeater, or a single shot, break barrel rifle or shotgun or something like that, is still better for hunting, because you're not taking lots and lots of shots and wasting lots and lots of ammo. I mean, here in Australia, we don't have bears and things to hunt, so you're not in any mortal danger from the animal. Like, the animal is not going to run over and start mauling you. A wild boar might, but yeah, you don't really see them. I've seen only evidence of wild boar. I've never seen, like, not on a farm even. It was actually at a state dam. It was going for a bushwalk at a state dam, and I found a bunch of fallen trees and knocked over stuff, and what was very evident that it was a giant wild boar that had smashed it all to pieces. And I can tell you what, no sane hunter would ever take one on, standing on the ground, going, oh, I'm going to just take a random shot at this thing. To be honest, a bow would be better for a wild boar, like a compound bow or a recurve bow would be better, because they have much more stopping power. And the one thing you definitely want for a wild boar is stopping power. You want to hit that thing so it don't get back up, because that thing got big tusks on it, and once they ram you, you're dead. Like, there's no coming back from that. Like, they gore your guts, you're gone. There's no one's going to be able to help you. It's like getting bit by a snake. You're like 2 hours out or something. Like, it's like, I'm sorry, but we're not miracle workers, so you're going to have God on your side to get home on this one, I'm afraid. Yeah, if a wild boar tusks you, yeah, you're in a bad place. I think that's why a lot of people use trained dogs with big knives. The dogs usually pin the boar or hold them, and then you can run up and cut them. But you have to have balls of steel to do that. I wouldn't do that. That sounds absolutely terrifying. To do that to an animal that can literally kill you in a second, and they'll weigh between 450 to 900 kilograms or whatever it is. Like, they're huge animals. So I don't know if they get that big, but they get very big, very, very big and scary. Like, you would not want to cross one. You would definitely be like, if you saw one, you'd be like, pretty sure we're not going to be hunting that. Not going to be a compound bow, like an expert compound bow guy, or like a professional pig hunter or something. Like, we ain't doing that. Let that one go. As for things like kangaroos, I don't think that would be on the menu for most hunters. Most hunters don't really hunt kangaroo here. You can. I think at certain places and certain times of the year you can do it. I mean, there's a myth that you have to be an Aboriginal to hunt them. That's not true. Certain councils will let you do it. and certain government parts will let you do it. But I think it's usually for controlling numbers. And again, I think you have to be a AAA shooter. They say you have to have been rated as a AAA shooter or a AA or something. I think that's in field rifle. I don't think bench rest counts. So most people can be a really good shooter at bench rest, especially if you've got lots of money to spend on your gun. Like if you've got a $10,000 .22, of course you're going to get like, a single A, double A, triple A rating. Like anyone can do that if you're spending that kind of dosh on especially when it comes to bench rest. Bench rest is easy. Anyone can do bench rest. Like I think my best score on bench rest is like 438 out of 500, and I got a farm rifle. Like it's not an expensive rifle, and most guys, like once they're dialed in, easily get over 400. I would say between 380 to over 400. I think once you're dialed in, once you've got the hang of bench rest, like a few little tricks you can do to get good at it, without seeing you personally and without sitting down and saying this is what you can do. So I got showed by some good shooters how to do it. Without that, you're probably going to suck. But once someone says, all right, I've seen what you're doing wrong, and this is what you can do to improve your shooting. So if you want to improve your score, especially for the people that want to be competitive, like the people that want to go to the shoots, like the big competitions and that. I mean, I don't mind the idea, but I've never considered myself good enough to ever really do that. Especially since I've struggled to get my field rifle up to about 300. And you might say that's not great, but trust me, on this field rifle is hard. So no, I'm saying I'm not going to be like doing those competitions knowing that I'm just going to go up there and embarrass myself. I'm not doing that. That'd be interesting. I would like to see a competition, like a proper competition being done. I think they hold it at my club every now and then, but if I got time to go down and check it out, I might, but I probably wouldn't do the shooting. Like I said, I just don't consider myself good enough to compete with those guys. I don't think my skill is good enough. So I don't mind going every week to do my practice and that, and work, like practice against my own score, but to have a go against other people, nah, I'm not going to do that. No, I kind of feel like you have to be talented for that. I'm not talented like that. So yeah. For the people that don't shoot and don't know, at the field rifle is between some targets are at 25 meters and some are at 50 meters. Depends what kind of shoot you're doing. 3P is all at 50 meters, and I think, what's it called? Yeah, I think it is just called field rifle. I think that's you do shoot at 25, and then you do shoot at 50 meters, and yeah, you can do your bench as well, which is like that's at 50 meters as well. So that's off. You're sitting down, and it's off a table, and you're using like rifle mounts and sandbags and stuff. Whatever you prefer, whatever you like. Some people like to use. They've got like little stands on their rifle. I hate those things. So I mean, I don't even know if snipers use them, but I personally think they're clunky and they kind of off-weight your shooting. Like if you're shooting freehand, I kind of feel like it's going to throw the weight of the rifle, so it's going to ruin your shot. So I mean, if I was a sniper, I'd be using a sandbag. I would be, because it's easy to just pick up a sandbag and chuck it in a bag or something, or chuck it. Or just throw it away or whatever. It's just a sandbag. But I wouldn't be worried about. I mean, yeah. And as far as it goes, camping, as far as like it was referred to as camping in games. So would you do camping in a hunting situation? Yeah, some people do. And that's fine, but you're limiting yourself to where you can see feral pests. So most people don't camp, they walk. So that's why field rifle is the better practice for that. And if you want to get into hunting, I would suggest join a club and practice field rifle. Not a lot of people do field rifle because they think it's too hard and they don't want to get a bad score. But I kind of feel like you got to take the Muhammad Ali approach to that, where you basically Muhammad Ali was good at boxing because he worked on his weaknesses, and he said that. He said, I don't go to train and work on my strengths. I go to work on my weaknesses. If you work on your weaknesses, then you're going to have no weaknesses. That was his mentality, and he's right. So if you want to be good at something, you don't work on. You might practice what you're good at to start with, but once you've got that down pat, don't sit there and focus on that being the only thing. You should go, okay, I'm good at that, but I'm not good at that. So I'm going to use Sean Strickland as an example here. It's probably not very fair. Sean Strickland's a good stand-up fighter, right? So he fights well. He'd do great in kickboxing. If Sean Strickland was a kickboxer and was doing K1 events and all of that, he would destroy. But he does MMA, so there's grappling and there's other things like floor and stuff. And Sean Strickland sucks at those things, right? So as soon as someone's able to get close enough to him, they usually go for a takedown, and there's not much he does about it. Like, you don't see him going for a choke himself or a reverse. Like, you don't see him going for like, oh, I'm gonna, you've got me by the leg, so I'm gonna try and grab your arm, or whatever it is that MMA guys do. I'm not MMA trained, so I don't know. But I mean, from what I've observed, and he usually chooses like one standing position. Like, he fights very similar to Andrew Tate in kickboxing. If you watch Andrew Tate's old fights and then you watch Sean Strickland, they're very similar. Like, the two would actually match up very well as far as like a kickboxing match. But obviously Andrew Tate's too old now, and Sean Strickland would beat the brains out of him, so that would be done. But why would Andrew Tate even want to do that? It's like worth millions of dollars. It'd be a stupid thing to do. Like, it'd just be like, I fight this young guy who's in training camps every day, and he's like in his prime. He's always in shape. Like, and here I am, smoking cigars and drinking booze and thinking about money and women. Like, I'm gonna get my face punched in from this guy. Like, no way. You know what I'm saying? Like, if Sean Strickland actually worked on his weaknesses, he'd be a top-notch fighter. Like, could be a champion again. But like I said, he's only focused on striking. So and he's only focused on that stand-up striking. That's why you always seem to do the push kicks and the jabs and all of that. And his guard's always in the same place. I mean, the moment somebody picks his style and practices against it, they'll destroy him. So yeah, I think that's why that Duplessis guy destroyed him, because he picked him in the first fight, and then he picked him in the second. Like, it's like, well, you didn't change your style, and you didn't change nothing about how you were going to fight me. So I'm just going to work on what I destroyed you with the first time, and that would be it. Like, yeah, that's what happened. So yeah, I got a bit off topic there. My bad. I think that about covers it. Peace out. Take it easy, guys. See you on the next video.